Another week, another review recap show here, Big O Bell Media for BMF Season 2, jumping into episode 7. Both sides of the fence. Lucas and I here to break this entire episode down, as well as give you extra additional content. Yeah, there's a ton of things getting ready to drop for you all, as we've been saying each and every week, because things really have not been slowed down. In fact, things have only been picking up here. But y'all know the drill. Now you're gonna beat around the bush. As always, we do have a little clip of an interview we had this week. So let's jump into that one right here.
Y'all ain't respecting me, and you know he's a man of respect. So at this point, he just blows up, shoots his mother. It's just all hell breaks loose at this point with K9 on the connect. His mom's stealing from him. And he's just like, all right, you know what? I thought y'all understood. You need to respect me, and I guess you guys aren't. I'm making an example, and that's the highest level you make an example. Your mother, man.
Yeah.
So, and
all right. We're back, folks, here to get into our recap of the entire episode of episode 7. Look, that interview in its entirety is available on the channel now, and if you are subscribed, and you see plenty other interviews popping up right now as well too. This has been a busy week. You can check all of those out right now on the channel. If you have not subscribed, do so. But by all means, whether you subscribe or not subscribe, get in the comments, get in the chat, be involved with tonight's review recap show with us. Starting off at the top of this episode here, sir. We have someone's in the trunk, and it happens to be Big B Mickey. But sir, did you think it was going to be Detective Brian? I know we had our predictions last week, but
I said, remember at the end, I said, oh, the obvious one, Detective Brian did it. Like it was, it was something that came to fruition afterwards. After we were talking, I kept on thinking, like, wait a minute. We can't leave out the obvious person it would be.
Yeah, I was trying to have a little fun.
It's not like B Mickey didn't get away with Ho's 92 bricks, and Brian is highly upset about it. So, of course, he would be the person who would kidnap him, and of course, it would be because of the drugs.
Yeah. So, Detective Brian's a street dude, man. That's just what it is. Slowly but surely, but he's a street dude. And I think throughout this episode, we saw more ways than enough that he's a street dude. One, because of the approach on kidnapping Big Mickey, putting him in the back of the trunk, not even caring. My man was in that junk for 2 days, bro. If the math serves, because he didn't know that his mom died, so that means he had to be in that joint for 2 days. And
I'm just wondering, because I know those old cars, and oxygen wasn't a thing back in the day to worry about things and items in your trunk. I don't know how the hell he survived in there for 2 days.
You know they're gonna be trying to figure that out. But yeah, and then you know, him having a connect that had to connect in order to get the product back inside of evidence. And then we have the moment that I wasn't waiting for, but we all knew it was coming. Him and Detective Jen, unfortunately.
I mean, it's just jealousy. It's okay. It's all right. Steve already know you don't like him. So, I mean, at this point, you know, he make out with Kelly, and then you get upset about it. We already knew where this was going.
Yeah, what an interesting time. Supposed to be talking to Steve again sometime this season. What an interesting time that's going to be. Third time's the charm, I guess, here. But yeah, somebody was in the trunk, happened to be Big Mickey, and Detective Bryant was the one that put him in there. And he said, man, where's my bricks? And he said, fine. Don't got my bricks. Put your mom back in that shitty place. So that right there is the indication that it's been 2 days, because if his mom has already been passed, he couldn't have moved her. But yeah, he's gonna put your mom back in that shitty place. I'm gonna go ahead and slap that charge for Kato, J-Mo, and Baby Mickey. We'll just throw all 3 of them joints on you real quick. And then we get the narration from Terry, like the real Terry, saying no cop is a good gangster. No cop is all good, as no gangsters all bad. So
there you go.
This is a little bit of foreshadowing, and maybe there's some scripts being flipped. And as the title of this episode says, both sides of the fence. So, you know, you all can make your articulation as to who's that being directed towards. Anywho, we up at the church. And first question is by who? Where the hell's B Mickey? Like, come on now. We're all supposed to be sitting here And as we like to say nowadays, in celebration of someone's passing, for B Mickey, for Saki passing, and B Mickey didn't show
not
up.
for B Mickey passing, but B Mickey
yeah.
just didn't show up.
Yeah, B Mickey
Damn,
didn't show
if
up
he'd
for
have passed away in
Saki.
that trunk, damn.
would have been a wild angle. I tell you, if he had not been casted, if Miles wasn't playing that character, I could actually see this being something.
Them killing B Mickey in the trunk.
Could you think about the story? Could you think about the story arc here? A cop
and
killed.
then all of a sudden, the Detective Bryant is missing bricks and has a dead body in the car that he put. And his partner, who's supposed to be straightforward, would know that. And she's falling in love. That's his own story. You can't do nothing like that.
Yeah.
At that point, that's his own series right there.
Definitely gonna have to gonna be getting a call from jail. What the penitentiary Demetrius Flannery. But hey man, I heard about that last episode. That ain't happened at all. That's a whole new collect call from. But
wow. I ain't had one of those in years. Did you know they still did those?
Whatever the jail cell calls or however they work. But yeah. So with that, everybody's showing love to Saki, and that's what's most important right here. And they did talk about the Terry asked me last time he even seen B Mickey. He said last time I seen that man was wired like a time bomb. So he's not shy in letting them know that B Mickey, which to me says, so y'all don't think the feds got him? That's not the first thing y'all thought. If he was wired, y'all didn't think the feds got him?
It didn't sound like it. It sounded more like he just think he got out of there. Because remember, B Mickey was moving to get out of there. He understood. I'm hiding the firecracker.
True. Yeah.
It was more interesting here that he told T everything, and that T brings up and says, I never liked your second grade friend. Like, because this whole time, at times we thought like, oh, they're like three brothers. It is clearly that was never the case with T. T's letting me know I never liked him. That was your little friend, Joe.
Interesting there, but so yeah, like I said, came clean with everything. No, but Pastor Swift decided to come off kind of pastory for the first time. It's like this.
Damn,
either one of you,
though, he been preaching this whole time, Joe. He ain't been like undercover shit. Granted, at times he did want money, but he's been like, let you know what's right and right, what's wrong is wrong type of thing, Joe.
I guess because because the Flannery brothers said like, we gave you that hefty donation here, but he said, I don't mean nothing. Either one of you change your ways, and said these are salvation and redemption for this community, folks. In other words, get your act together. This is the second time it's been foreshadowing that something's coming for you too, which is probably like a story that everybody around saying, man, we knew at some point y'all were going to get got, man. It's like, yeah, we
not only that, it's about, hey, you do this in your community. No matter what good you think you're doing, you're destroying your community.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Kind of telling them, do it on the outside of the community. Take that somewhere else.
But keep the money
coming though.
Yeah,
keep that 10% coming in now. Don't forget the 10%, but go ahead and take your business elsewhere.
Yep. But what's more important here is the two brothers' mindsets. Now, Terry is aware that the B Mickey situation is not something that she just easily look over. He understands that like this could be like problematic on like a police level. We don't want to deal with that. But then we got Meech on the other hand, like, I think we got an opportunity here to slide in with the Columbians. We're going to talk to K9 cousin, and we're going to make it happen. And Terry's like, wait, what? This doesn't make sense. Why are we even talking about this right now? But this is just truly the paths going forward for this episode here. So to the detectives, the numerous scenes from the detectives here. Detective Jim want to know, where's your source? In other words, where's B Mickey?
I don't know. Hey, Brian may be honest about some things, but he definitely wasn't going to tell her, I got him tied up in the trunk of a car right now. Yeah. We already knew, like, nah, that's not a piece of information he's sharing here, because it's not like Brian. As you say, he's a street dude. You get just enough information to make you happy. And that is something that I don't think he could told her, and she would have held it in. And that would have been his fear.
Yeah, my man truth ratio is like 10%. Like out of everything he say, like that guy be lying. Everything.
Hey, Detective Brown will take it just as far as he needs to take it. Like other than that, you don't need to know too much information here.
Clearly,
like, I mean, come on. When you have a drug connect, a fake drug connect, which makes no sense, a prescription pill fake drug connect is like, what cop has that? What cop can say, hey, you know, we could fake some bricks. Like we could get enough. Is it benzo? I think he said benzo. Yeah, like why? Like you would have thought, you know, and now if you had that shit, it'd be perks. If you get 2 keys of perks, man, you're the man. You running the streets for a minute, Joe.
Yeah, so as they talk about you know, the issue here, they got the inventory, there's gonna be an inventory on evidence. And as they asked about, like, either listen, where's those keys at? And it says, well, listen, how long can we stall? We got till tomorrow. And they tried to brush it off, saying like, listen, we haven't hit the sting operation, but like we'll get it done. And at this point now, we hear that like, well, I guess it's time for us to pay our respects. And I already knew this was gonna be something crazy. Like, this dude is a thug for real. He's been upgraded from street dude to thug, because he literally has no respect for anything. But what's important here, and I don't know if it's said here or later, but either way, understanding that Detective Jen is only going on with the ride because she don't want to lose her job. And I think it's worth mentioning that she feels like she has something to prove. And it's right and wrong. It's wrong because she shouldn't have to be that way. But it's right. It's because it's like her motivation, understanding that like she's in a position that you don't see women in. She's a woman cop in Detroit, as Kevin Steve's son said. You have a woman, like what? And understanding that the system works against her as a minority woman inside the force. So she has to prove, sort of say that she belongs, some motivation, but she shouldn't have to prove it. But I understand that, like,
it's the 80s. She should have to prove it. I know that sounds crazy as hell. It's the 80s though. You're a woman, Asian, in a black community. You got to prove everything you do at this point.
Right. I mean, that's why it
makes sense if it didn't. Yeah.
Right. That's why I keep referencing it. Like, she shouldn't have to, but she does. And I think, she doesn't see failure's not an option.
There you go.
So she'll dump her. She would dump her account. She would do these risque moves, risky.
And clearly we see it by their last scene together. Yes.
So, and it's just, and to me, I'm just waiting for her to just pull out her Yu-Gi-Oh card and finish the last move, because she's definitely, it's like, this ain't so innocent. I really do feel like she's like stirring up a final moment to like either prove that he's corrupt or like the something of some sort. But she's playing the game right now. That's all I see.
To get closer to him to prove a point. I don't think so. I think she's falling for Brian. I mean, we see the big racist moment because she's an Asian woman and she rents kung fu movies and she does kung fu tricks with the son. Like, it's like, come on, Joe. That was a little too on the nose there.
Yeah.
But again, it's a situation here. I don't think she's trying to set up Brian. I think she's falling for Brian. I think she understands, or she's understanding more of what it takes to be the police in Detroit in this time period. So she's adapting to it. She's noted like, you can't be a straightforward cop and get anything accomplished. That's going to be humanly impossible. So maybe she's seeing it as, I thought Brian was dirty, but maybe he has the dirt on him because that's the only way to do the job.
Man, y'all can let us know in the comments. Is she falling for him, or is she trying to set him up for something? And I don't know. I'm not saying to set him up to like some type of like, make him lose his job or anything. But I think she's definitely trying to get a moment of saying like, you have never been honest with me, and I have all the tools, the moments, and etc. to prove to you that like you can't effectively do this if you're going to be this way. I think she's building up enough, should I say, evidence, a resume on all the stuff that he's doing wrong, unethically, while she's trying to go about it the right way. I don't know, but I just feel like it's going to be there will be an aha moment instead of just the romance. I just don't really see it driving just
I
to a
think
romance.
again, and I just think the aha moment is going to be her realizing that this is the way to police Detroit. I think what Terry said at the beginning was very apropos. Yeah, that's a good word to use there. Of him saying, like, you're never going to get a cop that's always clean, and you're never going to get a gangster that's always dirty. Like, it's always a mixed bag. And that's the way, unfortunately, in this country, in this time period, that's the only way to police. You got to get as dirty as the criminals to get the information on the criminals.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she's getting more and more being around Brian.
Oh, for sure.
So this is the way you actually need to police. That straightforward stuff is going to get you absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely. He's rubbing off for her 1,000% here. Yeah. Back to the church, though. Meech, and, he's giving a few words for Saki here and, pouring out the wine. I don't know if does this actually happen?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Detroit thing. Because I know
what they do.
Service.
I know what they do in the corner with the Henny.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But I've never seen somebody do this before. Because what would be the purpose of pulling the wine in the cup? But again, maybe it's a Detroit thing. Maybe this is something they did that I would know absolutely nothing about. I just know in DC, niggas ain't even drinking wine in their 20s. Let alone pouring anything in the church. That's just not happening.
Pouring out that Stella Rosa out there for Saki.
That pink champagne.
Yeah, what a smooth dude. What a smooth dude. Well, now you weren't drinking no Stella Rosa. They were pouring out that white Zippendale for
that Andre. Pulling out that Andre in there for my guy who passed away. Come on, though. Or them 40s, Coke 45s or something of that nature. You ain't pulling no wine, though.
It is without a doubt that the repass is always connected to the church, underside or something. So they're at the repass here, and you hear a slow clap coming from the back. Is no other than Detective Brian, followed by Detective Jen, while he is smoking a cigarette. And, we got Pastor Swift saying we need to put our differences to the side. We're at the repass, y'all. Come on now. And, he asks him, like, are you taking up for him? But he's just like, no, listen. Basically, it's just mediating and whatnot. But Pastor Swift does tell Detective Jen to keep an eye out for him. I don't know what that exchange was about, but it was clearly maybe something foreshadowing. I'm not sure. But anywho, the Detective Brian comes in there completely with no respect for the situation.
Yeah.
Even to the point of putting his cigarette out in the wine. Just what was your thought about this side of Detective Brian at this moment?
Desperation, man. Look, one, he understands if these two bricks don't get found, it's not just losing your job as a cop. Like, you're going to jail as a cop if those drugs don't get found. So he like, man, look, we're going to do whatever we got to do. Because one, who would think, okay, we're missing these bricks. Let's go to the repass. Like, what is going to be at the repass that would ever benefit you here? They're not going to have bricks at the repass that you can take. So at him, it's intimidation. And he needed to do whatever he had to do to let them know, I'm on you until I get what I'm owed. As the first thing he did when he stepped in there saying, you got something of mine. Let him know he already knows. You took my drugs. I need them back. If I don't get them back, this is what's going to keep on happening here. I was just wondering, were they supposed to drink the wine after putting it into the thing? I was confused on what's the purpose. I was so focused on the bowl of wine and what was the purpose of it. I was like, okay, well, maybe they drink the wine afterward in commemoration of the blood of Saki or of Jesus or somebody. And then
the blood of Saki? Jeez.
I'm just trying to figure out what was the point of the wine.
Saki a prophet or something? Like, what's happening here?
But again, this is just another form of intimidation by Detective Brian. Again, it's the gangster way of doing things. Again, this is not the police way. This is his partner again learning another lesson here. This is the way we have to police here. It can't be straightforward. We can't wait till they get out the church and say something. No, we got to go up in here. We got to offend everybody so they know we mean business. Because maybe, just maybe, we'll offend one of these people or scare one of them, and they'll tell us the truth. And it doesn't have to come from Meech or Terry.
Yeah. So after all of that, I mean, you can tell Meech is completely bothered. Meech goes to see his baby mom, Lori, and he asks, "Was you not happy to see me?" Yeah, my man is down without a doubt. And then he mentions, like, man, the streets is crazy, man. The streets is crazy. He said, the only place I feel safe is with you. And he said, promise to be my peace always. And she responds back, how many drinks have you had?
Because that's a wild thing to come and say, man, I'm a drug dealer, but man, these streets is crazy out here. Promise to always be my peace. If that didn't sound like the ultimate line for a light-skinned nigga in the 80s, that clear, like, them it's folks out there in the streets now probably still using this same pickup line on their girl. But man, I was out here hustling all day, but I gotta come home to my peace. You give me peace, like they their own personal DJ Khaled all of a sudden.
Funny times, man. Funny times. I don't know, man.
I ain't never called no girl my piece. Like that. That's just not what.
Oh boy, don't open up the comments for somebody to come find out not to be true there now.
hey, look, if somebody could ever pull out a chick who said, man, yeah, when somebody was doing things they had no business doing, they would come and be like, you my peace, you my tranquility.
He was horny.
My queen.
That's what I was. He's horny. That's it. Yeah, he was trying to get in them cheeks, and he's just trying
to get in one, and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm,
Visit baby mama number 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which is exactly what he did. But back at the Flannery home, Lucille is coming back from work, and she says she's going to head to church. Pastor Swift wants her to put together a new women's group, but she don't really want to. We got Charles upset in the corner because Terry's out of the business, and Lucille says, promise not to kick him out. There's still time. We could work this out. Listen, Lucille's speaking a lot of the partnership between the two of them. She's always talking about the teamwork and how they can accomplish stuff together. So understanding that after they went through their challenges, she's really truly back invested full time in terms optimistic about whatever bit of challenges they have. Instead of working against each other, she's trying to work together. But because of that, man, Charles is like a different type of liar than Detective Brian. But Charles, since Terry's out of the business, guess I gotta pick up a night shift. And she's like, listen, we'll figure it out like we always do. The moment you heard Charles say, I'm gonna pick up the night shift,
everybody knew what that meant. Everybody knew what that meant. He about to get some cheeks at night. We all knew what that meant. No damn night shift to pick up. Charles thinking slick. One, when Charles was in a corner, I didn't even think he was in a corner sad because Terry left the business. I thought he was gonna be like, babe, I got something to tell you. I was expecting
never. I thought he was trying to get it in. I thought he was gonna try to get it in again. That's what I thought. I thought he was waiting for her. Like, she off work now. I'm about to get up in them yams right now. Instead,
he tired. He been getting up in other yams. He ain't got time no more, Joe. And you don't want her. She coming home smelling like a Whopper. I don't want to get in your yams, then. Nah, Joe. But again, this is more manipulation by Charles here, because that's all it is. At this point, that's all he's doing, and it's because he's stuck in a situation where later on he admits, like, me and your mother are going through stuff. He almost admits that they shouldn't even be together anymore. And a point that he's not telling her anything. That's the part of the manipulation there. As you see her 100% now invested in making this work, and he's damn near 100% pulled out already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell me how you really feel, writers transcribing a message from the source. I don't know if
I wonder where that story came from. Like, hey, this is the way this happened here. My mama came home from her job at Wendy's, and Dad was smashing cheeks everywhere humanly possible in Detroit.
Through 17 episodes here, There has not been, but maybe one moment Charles has done something that was favorable for the sake of the family.
Man,
Oh
Charles
boy.
another character from The Color Purple at this point, Jeff. He must.
For real. So the detectives again, is understanding now they in a situation, and Detective Jim is very clear, like, you know, this is our problem now, and she said, I'm not going out like this, and this is where they have to decide, if we can't get the cocaine, what are we going to do? And it says, well, maybe we can replace the cocaine with something else, you know, prescription drugs or something. You know, I know a guy who knows a guy, but it won't be cheap. All right, so I'm gonna give it to you in a second. And you know, he kept talking about, you know, we get this synthetic stuff from Smitty and whatnot. And she's like, "Whoa, down the rabbit hole I go." And honestly, she as she says, and honestly, is nothing but the truth. Even she didn't say this. She's only doing this because she doesn't want to lose her job. What did you think? I know we touched on this a little bit, but like, what did you think here on a couple of different things?
Okay.
The phrase, the statement of synthetic from Smitty, and I know a guy who knows a guy, but it won't be cheap. What did you think about this?
I was wondering, as a cop, why would he? Again, I said earlier, why would you know this person unless you had to do it before? That should have been the first thing that went off in her head, is he's done this before. Because other than that, why would you? And then how would you know that he wouldn't be able to tell the difference? Like, it's too many coincidences here to telling me, like, okay, so how many times have you taken these drugs out and done this before? And then it made me think about season 1 and his relationship with Meech at first. And me wondering, did he do this before for Meech, where he got drugs out and gave them back to him and replaced it with synthetics? Because again, you know the price of this too. Pretty sure Meech you told Meech, like, hey, this is what it's going to cost to replace these bricks. And if you put them in evidence, they won't be able to tell a difference anyway. Like, it's too many coincidences there that made me think, okay, this is, again, something Detective Brian is accustomed to doing. This is Detective Jen being in a situation where she has no other option. Like, she clearly here, as you can see on her face at times, she looks terrified of getting caught.
Yeah.
And losing her job. And I don't think it's the job that matters as much as it is,
where do she go?
Where she's at. Like, again, we touched on it before. She's a minority woman in a police force. Like, it has to hold more weight than just losing a job. If she loses a job, it can reflect bad on anybody else, because then you would think, oh, so you were the dirty cop, so women just could be manipulated in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
Why should they be on the force? It's all that extra pressure that she possibly puts on herself. And Brian just doesn't make it better here. But I thought immediately that he's done this multiple times before.
Yeah.
Why would I have somebody who could create synthetic drugs?
And as I said, listen, it doesn't work out for her. Then where did she go? Like, where did she go back to? Where did she start over from? You know, and it's a lot on the line with her.
Immediately thought about something so racist. Thank you, Lord, for biting my tongue when you said, where will she go back to? And I did not comment. But in my head, I thought of a million and one things to say there. But no, we're gonna move on, because I'm not even gonna hint to what I was thinking. Big Gold Belt don't need to be canceled. not in 2023.
Lucas don't need to be canceled. But if you are looking to cancel Lucas, check out his other channel and redacted.
Oh, yeah. None of that stuff exists anymore. I'm not James Gunn. I know how to delete stuff, so no one can backtrack it.
Oh man, back at Monique's spot. I know you're happy about this scene.
Always. It's always a beautiful time when Monique's on screen.
We have her doing her little cousin hair, and it's funny too, because like at this point now, you know, Meech comes in and he brings gift for her and the kids. He's like, oh, get these to kids. You give them yourself. Well, could, you know, if it wasn't for you, they would be here and whatnot. But anyway, we meet her little cousin who's 16, named Katina, who's 16 going on 30 something. We all know these young mothers.
34. Yep.
Yeah, thinking they all in everybody business,
hot in the pants,
and whatnot.
Oh, hot in the pants at 16. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
But she's from the A. She's from the A, You know, a couple of things here. One, she said, if you're ever in the A, you know, let me know, whatnot. And then Monique talks about Lamar and how they need to devise a plan together. And she said she's the Achilles heel to Lamar. And she's and me said, like, I don't need you involved with this. We don't need that and whatnot. And he says, listen, it's not even about us right now. It's about me and the safety of my kids. So basically, they're gonna have to try to tag team a plan together in order to try to get Lamar. Because as we mentioned last week, Lamar is untouchable. So there's a lot to make here. So let's start off with the first part. Tina, the 16-year-old here, talking about if you ever in the A, come holler at me. What do you think Meech was thinking at that moment?
That she wanted him to smash them cheeks. Like, it's the way she came across, and when she said it, that's why he looked at her. What?
Okay. So you think Meech was thinking that?
Meech was thinking that's what she meant, and that's what she meant. We clearly saw that. I think the connection of him thinking of if you're trying to put a correlation between her being in Atlanta and what the future we understand what BMF is did, I don't think it was there at that moment. At that moment, I think he was more thinking she was hitting on him. And his facial expression was like throwing her completely off. Like, yeah, nah, that ain't something we gonna do.
I thought my thoughts was that maybe he was thinking like, how could I use her? She know everybody. Says she runs her mouth and in everybody's business. Could she be used as some level of, I ain't gonna say collateral, but like intel in terms what's happening down Atlanta? Who's moving with what?
She's 16 in Atlanta. I don't think she knows nobody. Plus, he got a boy in Atlanta.
She's in college.
Remember though, she must have just started because she said she's 16, going on 34. So she's too smart for her own good. But Meech has already been in college in Atlanta, so he has a connect down there already.
True, but I mean, like, I think a couple of things for me too. We know eventually that BMF has a big run down in Atlanta. So obviously you can say, as most people used to say, my heart's down in the South, my heart's in Atlanta. I think Meech is starting to grow that sort of favor as to seeing enough reasons why he probably should be in Atlanta. But I think he's going to utilize her for something.
Oh, no. I don't want to confuse that part. I know he's going to do that part, but I say in that moment when she was talking, it was way more flirtatious with him than anything else.
Yeah.
But so they didn't show necessarily a correlation of him thinking I can use her as much as him like trying to dismiss her. I think eventually, of course, he's going to use her. It only makes sense. We understand the product they get by the end of the episode. You can't move that much in just Detroit. You got to move at different places. So eventually he's going to use her. But in that scene, I think it was more of her being flirtatious with Meech than anything else.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts about Monique wanting to get involved with the plan with trying to get Lamar?
It makes perfectly good sense. Not just because everything Monique says makes perfectly good sense, but hear what she said. It's not about you. It's not about him. It's about my kids. Eventually, you would expect those motherly instincts to kick in and her to be way more focused on he has to go because I want my kids here, or the danger associated with him. I'm always worried about what's going to happen to my kids. So it only makes sense for her to try to do this. I think she said last episode, you got to attack a street dude and you can't go by street tactics. And then yet and still, she deploys to Meech an idea that is a street tactic. Of course he would see that. He should see that coming a mile away, that eventually maybe you would side with Meech. But again, she said it perfectly. I'm his Achilles heel. He's always going to come around to me because he's still in love with me. But again, using that angle would be attacking him like a hood dude. So I don't think it could work that way. But I do like the idea of her thinking she should be involved in this. Because at this point, everything Lamar is doing is affecting her just as much as it's affecting Meech.
Yeah, and obviously she's been the brains of this operation and a brain of reasoning too. So like, so we'll see. Something that left me scratching my head last week. I guess we get an answer now because we get to see LaWanda going to see the psychic. So this rundown version of Miss Cleo here. As she presents all of Terry's stuff along with her mother. So this when her mom said, well, you know what you have to do. You know
I was
what?
thinking something so much deeper than this because this made no sense. A hood psychic, though? That's who you go to? Come on, son. Come on, son.
Let me
A hood psychic.
Yeah.
All she had to do to really nail it for me was call me now. And then I'd have been like, yep, makes perfectly good sense. You clearly went to go see Miss Cleo. Why would this be it made no sense that this would be I thought voodoo, she basically said it's something with T. He likes T. Maybe he likes the letter T. He said, oh no, his name is T. Oh, I was gonna get around to that. Like it's so much that this didn't make sense here. But it's the desperation that comes along with it. Because that's what I'm assuming that was supposed to be the connection. She is so desperate to find out what T is doing. And if this is going to work with T, that you would go to these lengths to do it. To steal his hairbrush, a pair of socks, a coat, a belt. Those are even things that would make sense to take to get readings off of. So I was highly confused here with all of this stuff here.
I mean, and obviously she's like, oh, well, this one has bad juju, so I'll just put that in my purse.
Exactly.
Miss Joanne, aka Miss Cleo, out here is what a part of this story I didn't see coming, man. Just I don't know. Give Miss Joanne your hands here. Let's figure this out. Folks, y'all can let me know. Is there anything from this scene that y'all picked up on that's worth noting? She was definitely very umbrelling her statements here. Somebody who hasn't quite settled in his decisions. You know,
clearly he hasn't. That's why they there. Like,
yes.
Man, is this what y'all doing in Detroit? Is this what y'all doing? Are y'all going to hood psychics for readings? Like, y'all didn't even get the woman that Screwface got in Mark for Death. At least could have got one of those. Like, get someone who can read something, actually.
Oh, boy. The female version of Scully.
A Gucci belt. And say, oh, this has bad juju.
I'll take it.
Let me put this in my purse.
Back at K9 spot, we got the rich man, poor man party. And we are talking to Raisin, who is K9's cousin, who is getting ready to set up the Columbian Connect, aka Cena, not Cena, but Cena, Sina, the Columbian Connect, who is basically the deal that the Flannerys are trying to inherit behind K9, which technically we'll talk about it later, but like, you know, he was definitely done with this deal, so like, why not, you know? But anyway, when it comes
money on the table,
right? They come in that joint. Terry says he's gonna go to get a drink, and Meech says, "What? Your pretty ass? Go get you a Shirley Temple."
and my guy went there and said, "You got cider, nigga." Nigga, why are you ordering cider anywhere?
I tell you,
I don't drink. I'm not ordering cider though. Come on, man. Or Shirley Temple, because that's extra soft.
I tell you, last season we didn't. I feel like maybe, and I could be wrong, but I didn't really feel this brotherly dynamic between the two of them like I'm feeling it right now. The exchange of banter between the two of them and like these small moments have just been better for me. And I know the theme of this season's elevate. And if there's one thing I have to say is something that probably don't get enough credit, is the two of them, Da Vinci and Little Meech, really growing a really brotherly bond that maybe it's in the script, maybe it isn't, but at the same time it's working. And I think that like if they are improving, which you have to be a little bit careful with it, because you know you can easily reference something like right now that's you know did they have Shirley Temples back in the day? Sure, but there was another reference he made earlier, and I was like, I need to check if that's even a thing, if that was a thing there. Well, right when they got to the resort, he said something, and I was just like, yeah, we're gonna have to check and see if that was that was like a thing back then. But
I think it may be written this way. It feels like it is, because in season 1, remember, it was Meech sneaking around because Meech was the bad son. Meech is the older brother. And he treated T, even though they were in this business together, he always treated T like his little brother. Here we saw T come out and grow as a man on his own, make his own decisions. And then he made the decision on his own to partner back with Meech. So now it feels like they're more on even playing ground. And then that's when the banter comes along more. Because again, like, I'm not your little brother. You're not going to treat me like your little brother anymore. Like, we the same person here. And we could go back and forth with one another. That's what I think it grew, because as the show progresses, their relationship needs to progress. And we need to understand the respect and love they have for one another. And not just on a brotherly, family related level. This needs to be a respect man related level. And that's what we're getting more and more here between the two. Even through mistakes, where T makes a mistake. Clearly Meech makes a mistake. And we see like they don't hold it against each other anymore. Like in season 1, they made one mistake, that was it. Here they're like, man, fuck it. Like, you fucked up, but it is what it is.
Facts.
The business is.
Facts. So yeah, this is just laying down the dynamic here. Raisin basically going behind K9 back, who's his cousin, which is like definitely teased like, oh yeah, that's hella shady. But as Meech mentioned, you know, everybody has a price. So what's your price? And he says 10% on everything. And then Meech is like, done, let's get it done. And he's just like, all right, slow down. But anyway, right after that, we see K9 back in his savage ways, because there is a shot that rung out in the club. And who else would it be but K9? He shoots some chick in the head. And then I had in my notes some chick, but I think I think later it is discovered that this chick also may be related to him, because he did mention that, like, well, I guess some family could be forgiven. And I was like, oh, because as she serves him with a bandage wrap on it, I was like, oh, okay, so
he shot her in her head and told her to get up.
Yeah.
Do you know how? Look, this is why we miss K9. This is why he needs to be on the show more, because that's ridiculous. There to shoot somebody in the head and say, "Get up." I don't think that's gonna be something they're gonna be able to do right now, Joe.
Oh my god! Hey, she showed up to work though. That's all that matters. Effort.
Hey, that's it. Effort. That's it. Hey, no FMLA for you. Let's go.
So anyway, the Flannery brothers in the car, and they just saying like, man, how can we even trust this dude, man? This shit hella shady. He's like going behind his cousin back. And this is where they start to set up what their plan is going to be in terms of meeting the Columbians. And there's a lot of funny things kind of said here too. But
this is the key part of what I was talking about that we just finished about the respect level. Because clearly Meech had his mind set. This is what we're doing. And when Terry said he ain't going with us, and Meech said something else, and he said, you heard what I said in the discussion. That's respect. That's beyond me treating you like a little brother. That's me respecting you as a partner, respecting you as a man, that you made this decision. Hey, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah. He said, yeah, we got to bring him because, you know, we don't know Spanish. And I immediately said, oh, Terry knows a little Spanish, but it was immediately brought up like, well, you know, I could translate. Those 2 high school semesters of Spanish, like, that's going to do something. Funny, though. It did help, though, to some extent. But I think just to jump the gun a little bit here, I don't know how, I mean, I know some Spanish, too. And I'm going to say Terry's Spanish wasn't so bad, but like beyond Terry not taking that cigar, Cena definitely is like, oh, your guy's disrespectful. And I started to think like, I wonder if it's because he's disrespectful because his Spanish is so bad. We're going ready to make an example out of him just because of that. But anyway,
you turned down the cigar. That was extremely disrespectful. He didn't even know it. It don't even matter that you don't smoke. You don't turn that down.
Yeah,
it's like going over Gates' house and turning down the drink. Nope. And take it with you.
Mm-hmm. And that's why like it was important for them both to have to trust each other because they both made mistakes there. Mm-hmm. So Kate, as they mentioned, like, listen, we get this connect, man. K9 and Boom gonna have to cop from us. And it's like, yeah, listen, I'm with that, you know. But anyway, you know, safety first. We need to bring the straps. It says, listen, we not bringing no straps there. We have to demonstrate trust and respect. So okay, we'll see how that went. Anyway, go to Marquisha job and Terry's there trying to get 2 tickets to St. Martin. And of course, he doesn't go to Marquisha's line, but he absolutely tries to grab her attention, make her jealous, talking a little bit of Spanish, talking about, oh, nah, this time for business, but the next time may be for pleasure and all this other stuff. And then he's asking about somebody, we asked for a translator or something.
Yeah,
translate book.
book.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
says, listen, why are you asking about Spanish there? It's English. People speak French. I forget what the other
They
language
don't.
said.
Yeah, they don't speak Spanish there. So why'd you
Yeah.
ask for
Yeah.
translation guide for there?
Marquisha's well cultured, folks. Well cultured.
Hey, what you expect? It's Marquis with a name like Marquisha. Wouldn't you expect her to be world traveled?
Yeah, and with hands, because that Keisha part, you certified to have some type of hands. And if your name is Shark Keisha, you got the most hands in the world right now.
hey, you knocking niggas out left and right if it's Shark Keisha. But Marquisha, she'll knock a nigga out and then teach him how to speak Spanish.
Yeah. She definitely did. She definitely laid some hands this episode, it sounds like. Does Lala know how to speak Spanish?
Yeah, Lala's Dominican.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I got Dominican
I'm
friends
just
who don't.
assuming.
Oh yeah, I'm about to. I got Dominican friends who don't speak.
No.
Spanish.
Because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Lala does know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, good for her, man. And I'm not saying to typecast her, but hopefully that does open up the doors for her to get more roles, because I never heard her speak Spanish in any role.
I don't know why I want to say
in Power.
She spoke it when she was a VJ with MTV. I swear I do remember her speaking it then.
Forgot about that. Woo. That's like
I go back. I know. I just aged myself a hell of a lot by saying that. But yes,
forgot about that.
I remember when she debuted on MTV as a VJ.
Yeah. But anyway, she gives him a place where you said, you take this note, and here's a place where you can get a crash course in it tonight. Very smooth, very territorial there, my sister, but it's all good. Lamar and Blackie shows up at Monique's house because he had to show her that he's trained now. It's like, oh, he's trained and whatnot. But anyway, Monique is staging and setting up the trap. So I've been thinking about building and getting our family back together. And he's like, you know what, man, I lied, but you really are Zoe's father. And he was like, I knew she was mine. But he said, after hearing your story and everything, I didn't want to keep her away from you any further. But in the meantime, we need to slowly build up trust, and this is, going to take time. And Lamar's so happy. He tells Blackie to go give Mama some sugar, and Blackie didn't move. And everybody at this point realized, like, oh man, Blackie ain't doing too well. He's like, oh, one could have just gave him water on the spot, but he's just like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take him back home and whatnot. And he tried to get a hug and say, nah, listen, slow down. We gotta build up trust and whatnot. And there's a couple of things to be made here. I'm gonna throw it to you. Number one, do you think Monique will fall for him now that we see Lamar showing some compassion, showing some humanity here? Number two, it was rough for her because the moment he left out, she gave the biggest sigh of relief. But then number three really ties into something I just mildly skipped earlier. And she had a strap on her. And much like Demetrius said, we have to build trust and we have to build respect. Which tells me that you have a strap on you if you don't trust him or the situation here. So one, to the three questions here, do you think that's a fair assessment about her carrying the strap? Do you think she will fall for him? And do you think this will be emotionally tolling to her overall?
I'll start first with the last one you just said. Will it be emotionally tolling on her? I assume so. Just because in the end, she may say that Zoe is not Lamar. She knows that Zoe is not Lamar, but Zoe doesn't know that. Like, he's always been in Zoe's life as her father. So no matter what happens, it's going to be an emotional toll if they go down this roller coaster of her playing the role to help to get rid of Lamar. That's just, it is what it is at this point, because you are taking someone out of your daughter's life who your daughter looks at as a parental figure. Two, will she fall for Lamar? Not a chance. I think that shit has been sailed a long time ago here. And it ties into why she had the gun, because she does not trust Lamar. But she understood, I need to build trust with him. Because if I build that trust with him, it's easier to kill him. The closer he thinks I am to him, the easier it is to get rid of him. And I think that's what the game is playing here. I did love this. I kind of figured she had a gun when he had to go in for the hug. And she said, no, we need time for that. it worked two ways here. One, it's an amazing thing to do because it's giving him something else to work towards to, which is highly important when you're setting somebody up. You got to give them milestones to work towards to. So he needs to work towards to being able to be that closer again. Plus, if he'd have hugged her, he'd have felt the gun. And then that would have been a whole nother issue altogether because he would have understood that you're trying to set him up here. So I think it's definitely not a love thing. It's definitely going to be emotionally take a toll on her when she thinks about it. Right now, she's so focused on getting back her kids that I think she's blind to the fact that it's a chance you're plotting to take out the man that Zoe believes is her father.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be a weight on her that is going to be hard to shake.
Is this plan going to work? Yes or no?
Say it one more time.
Is this plan going to work? Yes or no? The way she's going about this plan.
Most likely not.
Okay. We'll revisit it.
And it's not going to be on her, though. It's not going to be on her. I swear it's going to be on Meech somehow, some way.
Probably.
The plan is not going to work.
Yep. So LaWanda comes back from the palm reader and she says, listen, I'm pregnant again. And Terry is not trying to hear that. And he's out the door. Immediately, we get Terry and Markeisha out on the streets. Looks like they went out on a day and they just enjoying everything. But this is obviously because the location in which she told him to meet her and whatnot. And he's telling her all about the meeting with the Columbians. He bought her some flowers. They're practicing Spanish together. And why he say all that, he said, listen, like, if I do this, man, I'm gonna be able to take care of you. Like, I'm gonna get to the house, all that other stuff. And she basically says, we'll bring the deal home. And then he said, I want to be honest with you. LaWanda's pregnant again. And she's like, wow, Terry. And I'm like, wow, Terry, like, damn. But anyway, he says, I'm not in love with her, I'm in love with you and whatnot. So that's that. Back at the Flannery home, have women's night because we have LaWanda, we have Desiree, her mother, Nicole and Lucille. The mothers are firing at one another as they try to just make peace about another baby coming into the household. But Lucille does ensure that no matter whatever happens, this household is going to take care of that. So it's a little rough and shocking news. Meanwhile, Nicole is laughing at everybody throughout all of this, but nonetheless, it's the mothers talking, and I think the importance of this scene is just so everybody isn't aware. There's nothing hiding, so you have to think like, what does Lucille find when she finds out when
Terry's
So there's that. Moving on, Charles is working at night shift at the Pank.
Exactly.
Mississippi.
Oh, man. This man Mercedes has no coof here at all. How dare you go to a strip club in your own city, knowing the business that your sons are in? Who doesn't understand it's a chance I'm gonna see one of them here? Like it made no sense. But hey, that could make you do things that you have no business doing.
What? Listen,
that's what it is.
Listen, there's a lot of reason he fell for this. Mabel was about to trick him out that night. Said, I'm going to make sure you are turned out and had the time of your life. And Destiny comes through and says, don't worry about it. I got it. She said, stop all that talking, take them clothes off. And made it rain. So what's up, Mabel? You can take us out. We'll hit up the Pank.
Because the silhouette of that girl, like if you ever see dimples in a girl and you like, look at that natural.
That's what Charles was thinking. That's what Charles was thinking. And Mabel giving him the time of his life. He ain't never. The Lord ain't never let him be blessed in a way like this.
Hey, when she asked him, "You ever been with two women before?" He said, "Yeah, you and Lucille." He didn't even understand the way she meant it.
Yeah, which again affirms her polyamory.
Yes, it does.
That's loaded up, and that's it. That's when Charles gonna be tricked out, and for whatever reason, if this bit of the story, if this really does happen and this put in this series, whenever this was rumored throughout this family, this definitely upset, and this was a moment that definitely made holidays really difficult for the family because somebody's like, yeah, and Dad out here having threesome, we caught him, and they never forgot that to a point that years later they said, make sure you put that in series because we need sure everybody know that.
I caught him at the strip club.
Yeah, and he had a threesome with the neighbor to all that. We need all that in the story. I don't know how y'all do it, but do it. But anyway, if he thought he was gonna go in there and wasn't gonna get caught, listen, Uncle Clifford was gonna make sure the streets knew. So, but then if it wasn't Uncle Clifford, it was Meech, which was a really dope scene how they shot this. And Meech seeing his dad seeing him, a dancer coming between us, and then Charles is out like the creep in the night, and Meech is looking like But anyway, as he said, the streets, they're keeping the ear out to the streets to see if anybody heard anything on B Mickey and whatnot. And as I said, two days had passed since B Mickey was able to get out. But it was interesting how Meech was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And Charles didn't even think twice; he knew what it was. But I actually thought they were going to play it to that point of it being like, was it an illusion? Was it not? So, but all good. Terry, back at the house, Nicole comes in and says, "Her, I'm gonna be an auntie again." He starts to educate her on sex, condom education. And then the parents come in and said, "Boy, you lost your mind," as he puts the condom on a trophy and starts.
No. Only Lucille said that.
Yeah,
Charles is very quiet.
Yeah.
Charles like, I can't say shit to Terry right now.
Yeah, because he is nervous.
Your brother.
Yeah, my man was like, so you talk to your brother? Oh, okay, cool. All right. Got the hell out of there. I thought he was gonna be a little bit more hot than that. I thought he was gonna be like, well, if he hits you up, just just don't answer. It's all good. Everything good. Don't worry about it. Anyway, they get to the airport now. And Terry had packed some heat. So he paid for security to bypass security. And how does he do that? Because of the limo service, folks. He had to connect. And anyway, he said, "Listen, we're going to get out there, scope some land and whatnot." So I brought it anyway. And he says, "Man, this is the reference I was saying where he said, 'Man, you ain't never shot a gun before. Now you're Rambo. Now you think you Rambo.'" I don't know what year Rambo came out, but
no.
I thought it's about right. Okay,
Rambo
cool.
came out like 82, 84. It's supposed to be 88.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But anyway, they arrive at the resort, and Meek lays his eyes on this chick across the bar. I already knew it was trouble. Right then. Also, too, you ain't buying nobody drinks at the bar because most of the time they're all inclusive. But anywho, we'll just leave that what it is. But he gets her instantly back to the room. And as I tried to tell my good brethrens all the time, y'all gonna stop going to these foreign countries and thinking it's your home. Instantly gets robbed.
Ain't no way. If I didn't know no better, I would have sworn he was in the Dominican Republic. Because I know lots of niggas who get hit this way, that way. Like, come on, man. You don't think they see you coming a mile away? She poked that joint out the moment Meech came in. She fully understood what the
y'all not low key. Chains just right there in everybody's face. So Anywho, we got the detectives now, and we got them dropping off the lunch
bricks.
And he says, "All right, well, I'm glad you did this because I was just gonna have to notify Beckwith and whatnot." But he said, "Y'all cutting it close, but it's all good." So they dropped it off, and then the other detective GQ, comes in and said, "We got the surveillance tape." He said, "Man, they're spicy," and obviously we already knew what this was. For all the horniness that Jen and Brian did the previous episode. We got the meeting with the Columbians, the cigar incident. Meech says yes, Terry says no, splits them up off of that. As I said, Terry with his poor attempt in trying to speak Spanish to Cena here as we're introducing him. LaWanda is now, this is interesting here because LaWanda is now approached by the detectives, and I'm pretty sure LaWanda mom was there, so maybe they're at LaWanda mom's house because LaWanda's staying with Terry. So I'm like, I know they ain't just going to the Flannery house and tried to pin. Okay, so right. The houses all look the same, seems like inside, but whatever.
It's Detroit in the 80s, all of them did look the same.
But he gets the photography, gives her the photography of all the stuff that he had caught. They caught Terry with Markeisha. Said, "Listen, you're not gonna get spousal privilege. You got 48 hours to decide." That she's crying to her mother. Her mother is basically like, we're not making no decisions or anything right now. Like, come on, give us some time and whatnot.
You can't force us to. Yeah,
at all. You got to chill. Like, this ain't that. You know what I mean? So there's that. But it is now that LaWanda is very much aware of the affair or the cheating and whatnot. But also Brian is on him. So there is that. Meech now is aware that the chick from the bar is working with the Columbians. He is asked to remove all his clothes to make sure he doesn't have a wire. This is excessive. They could have just checked to see if my man was wearing a wire.
No. This is actually the way it's supposed to happen.
Okay, so
yeah, strip.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in water, because if you do have anything below your waist in water, it's gonna fuck it up anyway. So we're good to go. So yeah,
cool.
It made perfectly good sense for them to do that.
Yeah, clear, and I'm not saying that I want it, folks, but clear that Da Vinci and Meech did not sign that standard STARZ deal.
No man can sign that deal with STARZ. Only women sign that deal with STARZ.
James St. Patrick, I think, had signed that traditional STARZ deal. But why wouldn't he? Because like that's sort of just how he really got his name in the first place. Everybody knew him as
Ghost was smashing folks every week. Like it was a weekly thing for Ghost.
On every show, every platform, music videos, Ghost was out here just doing the same dirt. Still, even in his new steps, still cheating on Tasha.
I swear he was in Army of Darkness screwing a zombie at one point in time.
Army of the Dead, but yes.
Army of the
Army of Darkness. What movie was that? Anywho,
that's Bruce Campbell, 1993.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway, he says, why'd you bring clothes if you're here for business? That I never thought about, but that's actually a dope little tidbit there. He did say, why did you bring clothes if you're here for business?
He said, why did you bring guns if you're here for business?
I couldn't tell by the accent, but either way, I think they both work.
I'm still gonna bring clothes if I'm there for business. Like,
right,
nigga, I still need a dress.
I think they both
he said, why
did
you bring guns?
Yeah,
if you're here for business, and he brings up that Terry said, "Hey, it's better to be prepared than anything else."
Right. You're right. This is the deal of them both being wrong here. So understand that. So cool. He says, well, you showed up without my 20 million. Like what's good? And they all think because they're working for Raisin here, and that's not at all what's happening here. And a lot of different exchanges is happening between Meech being very direct that there's no middleman here. Like, we can do this. I'm about to just cut through a lot of this real quick and let you get on it. But like he says, listen, if you give us 100 keys up front, we'll re-up in a week. The demand's so high because of the drought, we're gonna be good. And he mentioned that like how his brother was rude and whatnot, and he said it was an understatement. They laughed about it and whatnot. Everyone sees that there's money and potential here. But the other day was just like, listen, like, no middleman. If you give us the 100 keys, we'll settle the debt with K9 in exchange for his life. And I think when they're saying his life, they're not saying K9, they're saying Raisin here. Or are they saying for his life in terms of like, we'll settle his debt, but you can't kill K9?
Life. Yeah, you can't kill him. Like,
got it.
That was Meech's deal. You can't kill K9. We're going to settle the debt. You can't kill K9.
Yeah. But he's okay, cool. All right, fine. Well, 300 keys because you're in the big leagues and it's already there because they wanted to know how you're going to get back. It's cool. It's already there. You know, Amazon.
The 80s.
Yeah,
exactly. Even Bezos even existed in the 80s, man. They prime shipped them drugs a day beforehand, Joe.
Yep. Don't even worry about it. Not even a problem there. Going to Detective Brian's house, we get Kevin and Gordon out there chilling. A woman this time because Detective Jen, his new partner, is introduced to them. They get sandwiches from Lou's, movies from Blockbuster, karate. So of course she's doing karate, as you mentioned. We're not going to give you a moment to speak. Ain't enough for you to say here. We'll just let it go. Brian puts his gun in the safe, but he comes back and realizes that Jen is having a time of her life with this family. This maybe be the thing that she don't have. Maybe it's family, and I think that she's having a good time. Kevin's happy to have a woman presence in that house that feels very militant for him, I'm sure. So good for him. And you know, and Brian looks on to it.
It was a nice family atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely picked up on that. Alvin and Lamar, Blackie, they're the vet. Blackie is all fucked up from fighting. They think they want him to put him down, and he says, "Man, I feel bad for him." He says, "Shut up, you don't feel bad for him." But anyway, it's all good. He's still gonna keep eating your hungry man because I'm not giving up on him. And you know, as we mentioned a lot last week, just the connection of Blackie's story and Lamar, and this is the whole idea of just maybe not giving up on Blackie, but also not giving up on himself to maybe turn the page of things. But that didn't last too long. Maybe he doesn't want other people to give up on him as well, too, which probably is.
There you go.
Talking about Monique. The detectives now outside hours says, thank you so much for being so kind to my son. And oh boy, Kevin looks on, I look on, the world looks on, and Detective Brian and Detective Jen kiss, and I cut the episode off. So that's it for tonight.
When you said Kevin looked on and I looked on, it's like, damn.
I was right there and across the street, like pulling down the blinds, like, what the, like, anywho. They get to the shipping containers and the computers are filled with bricks. Those old Macintosh in there.
There's no bull. Exactly.
But somebody comes up behind them and is Raisin, who also gets walked up on as he puts Sterling on his ass to kill him because he knew that Raisin double crossed him. And they already thought, what is K9 gonna do? But it's all good. Anyway, back at the church, Lamar comes in with Blackie and wants to know, can the Lord put his hand on this poor dog whose time is all but so over? As Detective Swift says, it's too late. He's like, oh, you're a fraud. You ain't got no power. He's like, I'm just a humble servant. All these other different things. The Lord house. Lamar said, no, this is my house. I was like, oh, man. Lucille looking over like, hey, this guy's dangerous, but I already handled him. Lucille's like, I already handled him. The Lord worked through me.
The Lord gave me a magical knife. And I was safe.
The Tubi knife. your screen, you saw a knife. No one else's. But he says, the God called me to run these streets. And I did not see this coming, but Pastor Swift said, fuck this. Pulled out the strap and said, nigga, get out. And all of the deacons got up and was like, yeah, it was good. I don't know what type of church that is. And I've been to
Detroit.
Gotta be.
In Detroit. Always remember.
Gotta be.
Hey, every pastor ain't always been saved now. Keep that in mind, too. As he said, try to bring the east side back out of me.
And somebody in the crowd, I don't know if you heard or not, somebody in the crowd was like, hey, he forgot his dog. And let me get an amen, because the devil is alive, folks.
Shit. I did miss somebody saying, hey, he forgot his dog.
It's crazy funny. I was like, oh, come on now. Anywho, B. Mickey, before that, Terry gets back home. LaWanda approaches him. I got the photos. Looks like eating pussy ain't really against your religion here. You fucking somebody auntie, funny, like nigga, fuck you. Detective Brian looking for you, and I ain't covering for you. So let it be known that he knows, and now he knows that Detective Brian is hot on his ass with photos. B. Mickey finally gets out the trunk. We get to the record store now, and this is the first time Charles has ever appeared at the record store. But the two of them talk about the bond that the family has had over music as we listening to a classic hit by the good old Michael Jackson. But Meech ain't Michael Jackson, as he said, but he did learn how to play them drums. I like that story. I think a lot of people gonna resonate with a little bit of that. In terms of everybody parents want them to be somewhat of a musician, especially anybody family who grew up in the South. Just how rich,
especially in Detroit too.
Yeah. Well, for sure, Detroit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me not dismiss Motown and that region of music, but like just understanding anybody, all of us in our day and age, should we say, but our parents who grew up in the Renaissance era and whatnot, understand just the importance of music and religion are music is a religion, to be honest, if you just want to go there. But anywho, but he said, listen, I'm not Meech, I'm not perfect Meech. And Meech was like, yeah, all this other stuff. To long story short, I'm not going to snitch on you. As Meech says, like, I can never be a one woman, and mom and y'all been arguing since day one, and you already done enough hurting her all this time. This is truly like, make sure this is in the script type of dialogue right here. He's like, but I'm not going to.
He's not saying you innocent. Basically saying you hurt my mother enough. I'm not going to let you hurt her again by me telling her you cheating on her.
Yep. But yeah, he got a call on his beeper and he had to go. Back at the club, we get K9, and it's like, what up, though? You tell me, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And this is basically just K9 crowning Meech as a boss. He lets him understand what had happened. He says, like, listen, the opportunity fell on our lap, and we'll be a fool to not jump. Raise him. He was going to flip on you, man. He was going to turn you over. I did what I had to do. We spared your life, but it had to be at the cost of your cousin. If you want to do this, I don't say blood in, blood out.
Now if you want to go to war, we go to war, basically.
Yeah.
As you see Sterling in the back with his hand ready, just in case that's what they want to do.
And he said, "What I tell you about family?" And he said, "I would have done the same thing." And he said, "Listen, man, this mentorship is over. You're a boss now." And as he said, sometimes it's okay to forgive family. As the lady he shot in the head is delivering him his hors d'oeuvres. Anyway, Terry gets a call from Markeisha. The kids are at the parents because Markeisha is crying at the hotel. And he just talks about the revolving circle of violence that he gets from Boom. She got tired of it. She smashed a bottle over his head, and cops were there to obviously wanted to take a statement from her and whatnot. But she gets mad at all of this and whatnot because Terry is definitely like not listening, more like trying to tell her what's what. And as she mentioned, like this is why women doesn't come forward, because everyone always got an opinion here. And then she starts to pull the age things like, listen, like he's the father of one of my childs. I need to go to the hospital to check on Boom. This is some grown shit. You don't know anything about marriage. Listen, just take me home. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where do you want to go? She sounds really confused right now. Hospital, home.
Why did you even call Terry in the first place? Because you didn't like it was the vent. She just needed a vent for a minute.
That's all that was. Yeah, this toxic relationship here. And last scene we get B Mickey, who now goes to check on his mom. They said, "Where have you been? We tried to call you. Sorry, your mom has passed 2 days ago, and my man is hurt." And this looks a little bit like a dream, but it also looks a little bit realistic as well, too. And I'm not sure if they're trying to like foreshadow something here, but there's something a little bit off about that glaring shot, the same glaring shot that he had when he thought he had baby Mickey in that other scene, which was clearly a dream. But they kind of use a little bit of both here. It looked real, but it also looked like a dream. So I don't know if there's something to be made here.
Transformation. This is the transformation, the beginning of the transformation of B Mickey. Because you took away the only other thing that was keeping him, like, I'm not going to say humble, but not as violent as he's about to be. Like, at this point, I think anybody can get it. You took away his mother.
Yeah. So I just want to be very clear, because I had to and this was my notes for the recap here, but I just want to be very clear about some specifics with this episode before we wrap up here. So I mentioned what K9 did, right? And I mentioned that I said, I think it's family, right? And then I said, I think it's family because of the statement he made. And then I had to go look it up a little bit because, sometimes we do. Y'all know what we do. We watch the episode, we jump right into the review, we make mistakes, we get some things right, we add commentary, we have fun. But I need to check this one out for sure. To find out that K9 and the person he shot was his mother that grazed her head. And it was his mother. And grazed her head. No, she did not die, but she did come back later with the bandages on her head to serve her son hors d'oeuvres. Just so y'all know too. And yes,
it explains why Terry said he's a fucking psychopath. You shot your mother in the head?
Absolutely.
And then had her serve you a snack, an after school snack after you did it?
Absolutely. So just to recap, this episode was crazy. You got Meech and Terry going to St. Martin's to try to basically take over K9's Columbian Connect. We had the repass for Saki, Terry getting out of the Flannery car service, K9, as I said, shooting his mother in the head, grazing her head, but she's okay, folks. LaWanda mentioning that she's pregnant with the second child. Now he's getting a baby girl here. Meech learning about the affair with Mabel, Detective Brian and Detective Jen. Yeah, getting it on, kissing, and Kevin witnessed it. We'll see what Kevin has to say about that. Raisin is killed because Sterling is there to clean up any bit of foolery going on behind Meech and them. B Mickey escapes death from out of the trunk, only to find out that his mom, Vernell, had died. And B Mickey, and Blackie dies as Lamar presents the dog to Pastor Swift. Yeah, he got his dog. Presenting him to Pastor Swift to save the dog. But ultimately now, Pastor Swift knows that Meech knows that like there's a community problem. He knows this is a community problem, and he's gonna have to go to Meech to go get that solved. So that will do it for tonight's episode. So much to talk about, so much to cover. Y'all check out all the interviews that's available now. But y'all know that we got 3 more episodes for this season. We're back each and every week. Y'all get in the comments, subscribe, all that other good stuff, and we see y'all back next week for more BMF.